Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we hear you.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Welcome to the 2025 Youth Leaders for Arts and Health Global Summit. It's a great privilege to welcome all of you here. I'm going to introduce myself and then I'll let my co-hosts introduce themselves, and then we'll get started. Are my co-hosts here? Hello. Um, so good afternoon. My name is Priya Odedra. I'm a graduate medical student in my final year based in London. And I'm also an interdisciplinary artist working at the intersection of arts, community, and health.
Hello, my name is Jennifer McCluskey, and it's good morning here from Florida. I am a arts and health practitioner. I have a master's in arts and health, and I'm currently working on a master's in recreational therapy. I also work within the intersection of arts and health, and I am very thankful to be here.
Hi everyone, my name's Shivi Kumar. I might be one of the youngest ones here, but I'm the Research Associate and Global Health Policy Associate at the Young Leaders for Arts and Health. And along with that, I've done research with a professor at UPenn, specifically in neurodegenerative diseases.
That's great. And it's so lovely to see so many people from different parts of the world. It'd be great to hear where everyone's from in the chat box if you have time. Um, but yeah, again, welcome to the Youth Leaders in Arts and Health Global Summit. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your weekends to join us today. The theme for the summit is harnessing emerging potentials to create a healthier world, which we'll ask you to consider as we go through the agenda today. Speaking of, we have a very busy and exciting schedule today, so let's get started. Um, so the next item on the agenda is the music from the Global Arts and Medicine Fellowship Anthem.
Yes, this piece reflects our mission of healing this and connection through the arts. Please enjoy.
I believe I was sent to bring joy to the world. I believe that I own them, my love and my care. More than joy.
Wow, that was amazing. It is now my privilege to introduce our keynote speaker, Xumin Chang. Xumin is a Gen Z curator, artist, and an art writer, currently pursuing a master's in arts, entertainment, and media management at Northwestern University. Please join me in welcoming Xumin Chang.
Hello guys, let me share my screen. Can you guys see my screen right now? Yeah, sure. So let me open with this. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I know I sound like Jamie Carey in the Truman Show, but that is the only way to make sure I greet everyone correctly today, since we are gathered here across so many time zones in different countries. And my name is Xumin Zhang. I'm a curator, researcher, and of course, youth leader in the field of art and health. I was trained in fine arts in New York at School of Visual Arts, and I am currently pursuing my master's degree at Northwestern University in arts, entertainment, and media management. And my education in both the United States and China has given me a global perspective on how creative can be applied to health challenges. I like to describe my work in this way. Youth leadership is the reach and art is the approach. In other words, young leaders can open doors to health, but art provides a path to get there. And this idea started with a simple but life-changing assignment. And it was during my undergrad. My professor asked us to paint addiction, and most of my classmates just paint cigarette and alcohol or broken families, etc. But I feel that is simply illustrating pain wasn't enough. So I just asked myself, if art can show the problem, can I also point to the solution? And that question led me to research. And I discovered studies showing that creative practices enhance self-efficacy. That is the belief you can take control of your own recovery. For people struggling with addiction, that beliefs can be as critical as medicine itself. It was my aha moment that art is not only about beauty or representation, it can be heal, empower, and transformation. Now, why do we emphasize youth leadership? As a member of Gen Z, I grew up in a digital world with memes and TikToks and a lot of cat videos, but also with new kinds of social anxieties. We know how mental health and body image and social pressure that are experienced by our peers today. Let me give it a small example. In 20th century in Beijing, China, people often greet each other by saying, "Have you eaten?" And at that time, food was scarce and limited, and the phrase meant care and bless. But if you say the same words to some young people today who might struggling with eating disorder, it may feel so heavy, even painful. And this showed how each generation experienced different struggles, and youth leaderships matter because we can translate those struggles into action with art. In fact, the very first hospital exhibition I curated with my team was about eating disorder. For me, it was not just an exhibition. It was proof that youth voice notice different issues and bring them light in ways of older frameworks often miss. And I chose 3 pictures of my favorite. The first one right here is all the volunteers sitting on the floor. And these two are two of my favorite ones. The first one is from a professional illustrator from Gracie, and the second one is a patient. And with this belief, I co-founded Ylah Arts. This is a youth-led cross-disciplinary platform combining art, medicine, and social innovation. And what makes our practice unique? We design space where patients and visitors can actively participate. And our artworks in exhibitions come from professional artists with lived experience and patients currently care in hospital. And we also have doctors, psychologists, artists, and curators, of course, collaborate to ensure both scientific accuracy and emotional resonance. And one project I'm pretty proud of is called Teeny Emotional Kindness. So it is an adolescent diffusion emotions exhibition. We worked with teenagers and their parents in a hospital setting. Instead of just labeling emotions as positive or negative, we curate work around loneliness, excitement, fear, and joy, and framing them as natural and universal. It gives young people permission to see their emotions as valid and parent a new lens of understanding. This is really my favorite part. And another project is called Bad Emotions, No Problem. It was staged as a pop-up exhibition in the commercial district in Shanghai and with Bilibili. I know a lot of you guys didn't heard Bilibili before, so that is basically the a Chinese version of YouTube. And the goal was to bring conversations about mental health into everyday public space, reaching people who might never visit a gallery or a hospital. So we just set up the exhibition in the mall, which is very funny. And then it was a deep moving moment. This is also one of our interactive exhibitions. We have a wall where people could write their inner thoughts. And what people just simply wrote, I don't like myself. And over the next days, thousands of strangers responded on that wall, like, you are healthy and believe in yourself, and just say, tomorrow will be better. So that a single cry for help were curse of encouragement. And here's another person right here, like, mm, after I become a girl, after the surgery, it was my touching moment. So everyone is expressing themselves. This is why I mean by art is approach to health, and it's not decoration. It's a catalyst for connection, empathy, and of course, resilience. Of course, it is also not so easy. Doctors do not always speak art, and curators do not always speak medicine. So we have just to debate, edit, and balance every phrase and image because something's too dark would harm the patients about their emotions, while something too idealized would let them feel false too. So, but in that negotiation, the real innovation happened. And since its founding, Ylah Arts has reached wide audience. Our exhibition regularly attracts 50,000 of visitors, and our programs have reached 70,000 students from Beijing and Shanghai elementary and high schools. And we also supported by 200 more experts from different aspects. So we have seminars and workshops together. And we also have more than 200 of volunteers from the community to help us set up the exhibition. And we also supported by 20 more universities all over the world. And our partners are like 50 medias and foundations. And the numbers really matters, but what matter more is every exhibition, every school program, every patient story shows that art can be a serious tool for public health. So what lies ahead I see three directions. The first one, of course, is education. Health knowledge should not be limited to textbook. I myself only learned in college that the difference between a viral and a bacterial infection, which is, I know, a little bit silly, but just imagine if the children learn this basic early through comics, interactive games, or exhibitions, of course, and all kinds of art. That is prevention and not just treatment. And many hospitals now are experimenting with cultural products like cartoons and cultural products, even memes to reduce stigma. Just imagine the hospitals that feel welcoming because art and humor make fear smaller the moment you walk in. And when a new field emerges, it is the youth who are bold enough to try new approaches. We are not bounded by old categories, and that is our advantage. And just for me myself, my vision is to push for policies that humanize hospital environments so patients can heal without burden or fear, and to train a new generation of cross-disciplinary talent who can speak both in both art and medicine. So without this bridge, the movement cannot grow. Okay, so conclude, art may not cure disease, but it can cure loneliness. It can turn stereo corridors into space of memories and hope. And it can empower patients as creators, strangers as allies, and young leaders as the curate of healthier world. And if you just remember one line from me today, so let's say this. Young leaders are the enriched to health in artist approach. Thank you.
Wow, that was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Sumin. Next we have Fatima Balarabe, a poet and global arts and medicine fellow.
ADHD, anxiety, depression, OCD, anxiety, depression, ADHD. They say healing comes in tiny bottles, labeled, measured, prescribed. Take one day, they say, to silence the noise inside. But what if healing isn't found in pills? What if peace doesn't come from prescriptions? What if we've been chasing remedies in all the wrong directions? This world diagnoses us, gives us names like anxiety, depression, ADHD. It boxes us in and seals the lid, forgetting the humanity within. We're told our minds are broken, that our bodies need correction. We're taught to view health as something found in chemical collections. But I see light in places they don't, in the brushstroke of a painting, in the rhythm of a drum beat, in the way a body sways to a song. Art heals. It moves through you like a whispered truth, a gentle hand guiding you home. The canvas becomes a mirror, reflecting pain and also hope. Art heals. The stage becomes your sanctuary, a place to scream without shame, to feel without fear, to live without limits. The theater speaks for the voiceless. Dance gives rhythm to a restless heart. And poetry lets you breathe when the world feels too heavy to carry. Art is the revolution your body craves, the medicine your mind has been seeking. It doesn't just numb the pain, it transforms it. It doesn't mask the scars, it tells their story. You see, the dopamine they promise you in pills are already within you, waiting to be unlocked by a brush, a pen, a stage, a song. The endorphins you search for are found in the vibrancy of colors, the electric connection of storytelling, the catharsis of creation. So I ask you, why settle for silence when art gives you a voice? Why seek only to numb when art can help you heal? Because art is more than expression. It is medicine, it is transformation, it is life. And in its embrace, you will find yourself again.
Thank you so much, Fatima. That was beautiful, very evocative and also quite haunting, that I'm sure some aspects resonated with a lot of us. I can see some comments here. And some, yeah, really interesting parallels between creative themes, creative mediums, and themes around medicine and mental health too. Yeah, some really lovely comments here. Yeah, so I'm just looking through a few. I see the light and brushes. Yeah, that was a lovely line. Um, right, we'll move on to the next item now. So we have Adebisi Jefojo talking about the lived experience of her lived experience of the healing power of the arts. Adebisi is a mental health champion, a musician, and Global Arts in Medicine Fellow.
My name is Adebisi Jafojo, and I'm a mental health champion. In 2019, I was diagnosed with borderline schizophrenia, and I was admitted to the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Ylah, Lagos. While I was there, I was very depressed due to the fact that my father died in 2016. My father was the love of my life and the only person that I relate with. So when he died in 2016 of lung cancer, I felt very lonely and I felt alone. So it got me into the stage of chronic depression where I could no longer find myself as a person. And I abandoned music. I used to write music. I used to perform music when I was very young with my friends. So when all that happened, it was like a chaos and I broke down. So during the time I was in Yaba, there was a music in mental health week. And that was where I met Mr. Kunle Adewale and the Arts in Medicine team. And they played violins and piano for us, and that sparked some kind of emotions in me and brought back memories that I thought I lost. I was inspired by what they played, and I wrote a song titled I Am a Superstar. I spoke to Mr. Kunle Adewale if I could perform the song at Music in Mental Health Day. And he said yes. He was encouraged and told me that I should, perform the song. And I performed the song in front of the staffs of the hospital as well as the patients. Everybody was excited and they really enjoyed the song that I wrote. For the first time in my life, I was not only seen as a patient, but I was seen as a musician, an artist, and a soul, a voice of hope. I'm a superstar and I know that. I'm a superstar and I know that. Nobody can tell me what I am. I'm a superstar and I know that. I'm a superstar and I know that. I'm a superstar and I know that. Nobody can tell me who I am. I'm a superstar and I know that. Today, I am proud to say I'm a Global Arts in Medicine Fellow, a musician, a creative, and a community empowerment personnel. Involve arts in our day-to-day activities, and it's going to be a way of youth empowerment. It will help the youth to gain access to funding to be able to create, different aspects of art, from music to paintings to digital art to movies and stage plays, to even fashion industry, because the fashion industry is looking more like an art industry where they tell their stories through the clothes that they make. art is a great empowerment tool for the youth, and I would urge the members of the world policymakers, the private sectors, the government, and the leaders of the world to invest in art, because it is a way to heal the next generation and even this generation. So we need to pay attention to our young ones. We need to pay attention to the youth of this age, because they will be the ones to take this next step and take the world of art and medicine and technology to the next level. So we really need to pay attention to our young ones, our youth, our adolescents, because they are the leaders of tomorrow. Art speaks where words fail, a canvas for healing the mind and the soul.
Wow. Adebisi's story is just so inspiring to hear, both heartbreaking parts, but also very heartwarming. And yeah, I agree with a lot of these comments. Keep them coming. Also, how catchy is that song? You really can't help but sing along. So good. And yeah, one thing that stood out for me was the last line, and the line that art is a great empowerment tool for the youth. We need to pay attention to our young ones. I feel that is very relevant for us all today. Um, on that note, we'll be moving on to our first panel discussion of the day, which is really exciting. The title is Healing Through Expression, the Transformative Power of Arts in Mental Health. So I'll introduce our panelists and also the panel moderator. So we have Murad Ansari, who is the Commonwealth Asia Youth Award winner of 2025, and also CEO of Psycure, a mental health organization based in Bangladesh. We also have Nereus Mensa Gyasi, a cognitive rehabilitation student. Yep. Correct me if I have got any of this wrong or mispronouncing names as well. And also CEO of Nereus Support Network based in Ghana. And we also have Faith Elisaria. Do we have Faith Elisaria here? I can't actually see on the screen, but oh, is Faith? Oh yeah, hi Faith. Great. Faith Elisaria, a UN Sustainable Development Goals champion and founder of Fave Care Space based in Tanzania. Our panel chair for the session is Aisha Ali, a Goodwill Ambassador for youth leaders in arts and health, also a MBBS candidate and global health advocate, and founder of Students for Climate Action Pakistan. Also a Commonwealth Youth Health Network coordinator for the Commonwealth Secretariat. I'll hand it over to you, Aisha.
All right, thank you so much, Priya. And the title of our panel discussion for today is Healing Through Expression, the Transformative Power of Arts in Mental Health. In this panel discussion, we hope to draw from the lived experiences and professional insights from our panelists who joined us today. And they really pioneered initiatives in mental health and community healing within their own respective regions. And with this discussion, we hope to inspire, inform, and ignite collaborations which center the arts as an instrument of social change and psychological support. So we're going to be beginning with our first guiding question. And this will be asked to first Faith, we'll move on to Murad, and then we'll have Nereus close us off. And so the first question for the panelists is, in your respective context, how have the arts served as a bridge between mental health advocacy and community engagement, particularly among young people? So Faith, go ahead.
Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning to you all. My name is Faith Lisaria. I'm a lawyer, SDG champion, and also a curator from the Faith Care Space. I represent Tanzania. Thank you. In my context, in Tanzania, the arts have been very powerful bridge to speak among our people in ways of formal discussion about the mental healthy. Sometimes it cannot only be through songs, we do it through poetry, dancing. People use that and creative workshops to open up on conversation. So it usually help on reducing stigma and make young people feel safe to engage. Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to our next speaker, Murad
Uh,
Ansari.
Thank you, Aisha, and good evening from Bangladesh. I'm Murad Ansari, a clinical psychologist and founder of a mental health startup. It's called PsyQ. We're providing the mental health solution actually. Before diving on the question, if I give a bit information about our context, particularly in Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, we have only thousands of mental health professionals for 160 million people, and 90% of the professional practice in the capital, and you can imagine the situation outside of the capital. At the same time, our mental health budget is only 0.44%, not even a single percent of the total health budget. At the same time, 60 to 70% are invested on the global national institutions like hospital. But we have only 30% of budget for the prevention part. So we always say prevention is better than cure, but where is the prevention? And how I want to connect, we talk about the mental health, and once is the prevention part, but it's a bit difficult to start the conversation for the access. At the same time, 11,000 people committed suicide every day, every year actually. So in this perspective, mental health is often overlooked and surrounded by the stigma. So to address all of the things, we launched one of our signature companies, Unwind Mind, where people express their inner thought and inner word to painting, digital art, and photography. If we talk about in the Bangladesh context, it's still taboo and see art as a luxury thing, and it's a technique, not a technical tools. So still we're working on it, and now people are moving on it and allow them to express their words through painting, digital art, and photography in a creative way. And I hope we'll dive more in the next part actually.
No, thank you for your insight. And that's also similar in Pakistan's context where I come from, where art is more seen as a luxury and now it's being introduced as a therapeutic agent. So thank you. So now we'll have Nereus close us off for this segment.
Okay, thank you very much. So, I think my introduction has already been done, so I would go straight to answer the question. So, when you come to Ghana, I think we share similar experience with my fellow panel members where mental health is really stigmatized. So, whenever art comes into play, because people enjoy art, people enjoy singing, I mean music, people enjoy drawing. Because of that, whenever art comes into play with mental health, it creates a safe space, or let me say a relatable space where people are able to talk about things that they find difficult talking about in formal or normal settings. People are able to express themselves very well. And then also, art is able to speak the language of young people better than lectures and then even campaigns. I'm saying that because I've realized that things like poetry, spoken word, is able to open up discussions and conversations about a lot of mental health issues like depression, anxiety, and then all that. And then art is able to humanize the feelings of people. Sometimes these lectures and then these campaigns make the whole mental health issue very abstract. When people are able to express it through music, through spoken word, and then even through acting or drama, they're able to relate it with it on a personal level. So this is what I've seen in my context when it comes to mental health and then art. Thank you.
And thank you so much for your local insight with that, Nereus. And we move on to our next question. Can you share a specific initiative or moment in your work where creative expression tangibly impacted an individual's group or mental health journey? And please detail us on how it was impactful and what made it so effective. So, Faith, please go ahead.
Thank you. Actually, in one of the programs that we did in Tanzania, there is a program that we did was paint and sip, and people used a form of drawing to express their feelings. And one of the young person in our program shared their journey with depression through the drawing that explained on how they felt on their emotions. And it really encouraged others in the group to open up through like sharing their emotions through painting instead of speaking, you know. And it became the turning point where creativity built both healing and community. Thank you.
Thank you for that story, Faith. I'd love to hear from Murat next.
Okay, it's fine. As I share, one of our signature campaign is Art Business Unwind Mind, where people express their mental health, inner thought through painting, digital art, and photography. In the last 3 years, we connected more than 25,000 youth to start the conversation about the mental health. In Bangladesh, it's very expensive to access the mental health services. At the same time, I share we don't have enough mental health professionals. So people have to think about it. Even though we don't share the word of the mental health, if I share a scenario of our context, couple of days ago, one of our client come to our office and in downside of the office, she's looking outside of the road. Does anyone looking her or not actually? Even though people think if we share the mental health is see as a weakness at the same time mad. So through our unwind mind program, so we people express the only the mental health context through the painting, the art and photography. And every year we got more than thousands of submission and top 45 we exhibit actually. One of our artists and a participant actually from the flood affected district in the Kurigram, so she shared a painting that the painting showing the broken house actually flooding on the water with a single child holding a candle actually. Later she shared that these pictures actually really from her from the flashback and others kind of mental things. So even though she didn't get any space to share her to word with the others, so how this is the how actually unwind mind helping in our youth. We might not have infrastructure, we might not have enough professionals, but we have this platform where they can start their mental health journey together actually, where they can share their struggle, not even by the word, even through their creative artworks actually. So this is how actually in Bangladesh we're expressing the word of the mental health at the same time of art actually.
Thank you so much for your story and the impact of climate anxiety and disasters when it comes to mental health, and the story that you shared is very relevant to the region of South Asia. So yes, please go ahead, Nereus.
Okay, so during the mental health month, that's me. In one of the places that I work at, we organized, we called it mental health school, but actually it was a mental health, art therapy session. We did it for the health professionals at the hospital because we realized that they are stressed of, a lot of things, a lot of patients. Because the doctor to patient ratio is actually very high when you come to Ghana. So we did a session for them so that they could come and paint, they could come and sing, dance, and then express their feelings to release stress. So I invited one guy from my network, that is a neuro support network, to come and give a spoken word during the program. Actually, we wanted, because I knew he was good at spoken word, so that's the main reason why I made him do it. But then as soon as he started, I realized that this spoken word that this guy is saying, and it felt personal. So after the program, he reached out to me and then he was telling me that it was about him, how, and I remember we've had this conversation about him having low self-esteem. So it was actually that growing up, he had this low self-esteem, which led to him being depressed and having anxiety and all that. But through him writing up the spoken word and even expressing it has been very therapeutic. And what really helped was after he was done, people applauded him and people also shared the experience of how they've also had their sessions of, I mean, low self-esteem leading to depression. And then trust me, right after the program, this guy was just invited to come and give a spoken word, not to be even part of the program. But he himself enjoyed the healing even more than the doctors and the nurses that the program was organized for. And then it wasn't just because of how artistic he was, but then it was because of the community validation. Everybody there was able to validate what he was saying, and then the shared vulnerability. They were able to feel, I mean, empathize with him and then enjoy how they've also experienced those things before. So I mean, this was a time I realized that art is not just about expression, but then it's medicine, it is transformational and it's healing. So there's one of the experiences that would, yeah, I have a lot, but this is the one that stands out for me. Yeah, thank you.
Your insights. Um, so I'd like to connection. Sorry, did I?
Sorry, Aisha, I think we've lost you there. Just wait a second.
Yeah.
I apologize. That was my internet. I apologize for that. So thank you. So thank you so much for sharing that story, Nereus, and highlighting the importance of to and we have for us before we take any is what are the barriers, whether cultural, systemic, or institutional, to integrating arts into mental health strategies, and how can youth-led movements overcome these challenges?
Thank you. So the biggest barriers are stigma and lack of institutional support. And actually, mental health is still a taboo in many communities. Basically, for instance, in our country, there are a lot of places still we need to spread awareness. And looking at youth has been leading the movement that can overcome this by using culturally relevant forms of art, music, poetry, dancing to make mental health more relatable. And while building this network that push for policies and investment in creativity and solutions. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Faith. Murad, please go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. If I talk about the barriers, and firstly, it comes to the cultural stigma. Cultural stigma, in a sense, mental health is often overlooked, and people don't take care of their mental health. At the same time, don't take it so seriously. At the same time, the art is what I said is a luxury thing. People still cannot accept is that intervention or healing tools actually. At the same time, systematic barrier, and most of the national mental health strategy don't include the sort of creative intervention yet. And finally, and third, if I say, it's definitely the funding. Still, we don't have enough funding to work on the mental health in the nexus of the mental health and art actually. But if how we can overcome it, take and storytelling is definitely powerful. But the policymaker and researcher will always want the evidence. So At PsycHero, we're combining qualitative stories with the quantitative measures. Actually, we recently implemented a social and emotional learning program, ACL program, with blending the art-based activities, where we use the WHO well-being scales and other tools to measure their stress and anxiety level. So we implemented it before and after intervention. We see there have a significant changes, and we leverage all of the information and approach our founder and others people so that they can understand art is not just all about the activity and feel good type of things. So they can see after if we implement the art based activities properly, there have a significant change and benefit that the society can get actually. So I think youth, when we take any initiative, rather than focusing on the storytelling and initiative and talk about the impact, we also need to think about the others people perspective, what the policymaker are thinking, what our investor or donor are thinking. If we implement this activity in research base, if we show the real life data and see the significant changes in that way people our society are getting the benefit, I think this will work more rapidly rather than taking random initiatives actually.
Thank you for such a comprehensive response to the question, rather than highlighting the important factors when it comes to integration. So please, Nereus, help us close this segment of the panel.
Okay, so I'll tackle it from three angles: culturally, systematically, and then institutionally. So culturally, when you come to Ghana specifically, Ghana, I would say, is a very religious country. Because of that, things about mental health are very spiritualized. So talking about, being depressed, I have bipolar. People tend to stigmatize against you because they feel like this is so. Some evil spirits. I don't know where that came from, but I believe that is how our community started. So because of that, people are not really able to express themselves and then open up. And then sometimes the way we are brought up, especially for young men, we are told you have to remain strong. You cannot. Men don't cry. Some of these things makes it very difficult culturally for people to express themselves. Systematically, let's talk about policies and funding. Our policies don't function in our mental health, systems. And then they would say we don't have money because we are a middle income country. So they don't see the need for, art therapy. They would rather buy medicine for people because they feel like it would manage the condition for a while, and as soon as the person takes the medication, let's say antidepressant, the person feel okay for a while. So they think that is all. So they feel like art is a very long term something. So they will just let it be. They don't see the need for funding for a lot of art therapy, because some of these art therapy sessions I'm talking about, people tend to pay for it. But in actual sense, because of how beneficial it is, there should be funding allocated for all these things. But it's not like that because of how they don't see how relevant it is. And then also institutionally, people tend to prioritize the normal way of going about mental health therapy, as in the counseling, the medications. Most of the institutions tend to prioritize that as compared to art and other, because our systems, hasn't really accepted art when it comes to a form of mental health therapy. So these are some of the issues, the gaps that I've seen. And then I think I agree with Murad very, very much when it comes to the research aspect, because our policymakers, they make the policies. So if you just go and tell them, someone came to join my session and it's okay, how many people, what percentage of people, that is how to do with policymakers. So I concur with him when it comes to research and all that. And then also we should demonstrate the impact. Now we are in a digital world. Let's post so much on it, because these policymakers are people. They are also on the media. They also read. They also watch. So let's demonstrate the impact. And the last one is build partnership. So if you've seen, let's say, a country, you've seen an organization that is very doing well in art therapy, partner with them. And then as we go on, we'll be able to merge adds so much in our mental health therapy. So this is what I would also say when it comes to that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comprehensive response, Mary. So I think concludes the questions that we have for our panelists. So if anyone has any questions in the for our panel, please feel free to ask in the chat box and we will address them. I also just wanted to really highlight a point that Nereus made when it comes to spiritualization of mental health. I think that's very common in countries such as Pakistan's as well, where with the discussion of mental health and arts, there's also discussion of, the spiritual aspect. And I think it's very important that, these factors are addressed. So thank you for raising that, the discussion around that, Nereus. If there are no questions in the chat for our panelists, that means we can conclude the session. Thank you everyone for listening. We hope you had a wonderful time, and on to the next segment. So the floor is now yours, Priya.
Thank you so much, Aisha.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to our panelists as well. So great to hear about some of the initiatives happening around the world, the successes, barriers, and also the feedback from the people that the panelists have been working with. I think that's so important and helps you to grow and evolve as organizations. Yeah, for me, there's a lot to unpack, and very inspiring to hear about some of the upcoming activities. We don't, as Aisha said, we don't have any questions, but some lovely comments for the panelists. I won't read through all of them, but if anyone wants to mention anything, you can direct some comments to the panelists as well. All right, great. So next on our agenda, we have a music performance by Sin Mideli Ayodeji, a musician based in Lagos, Nigeria. Sin Mideli is also a Global Arts and Medicine Fellow, like quite a few of us here.
Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around the world. My name is Simidele and I'll be singing for you today. This is a song that I wrote. It doesn't have a title yet, but I hope you enjoy and I hope you're inspired, and welcome once again to Arts in Medicine. Okay. Hello, welcome to this thing called life. Don't you let it pass you by. Oh, we've been waiting for the day you'd arise. They say the journey of 1,000 miles begins when you take a stride. So take a leap on this road of possibilities. Be brave, go chase after all your dreams. Be bold now, row against the stream. Now is your time, can you see it? Keep hope alive and believe that you're the one we've been waiting for. Look up at the stars, you will see that the future is bright. Oh, believe that you're the one we've been waiting for. Show us what you've got in store. Hello, Welcome to a brand new day. Don't worry, it is not too late. Shake off the dust, don't let the sun go to waste. Oh, be brave, go chase after all your dreams. Be bold now, row against the stream. Now is your time, can you see it? Keep hope alive and believe that you're the one we've been waiting for. Look up at the stars, you will see that your future is bright. Oh, believe that you're the one we've been waiting for. Show us what you've got in store.
Wow, what a beautiful voice and also the lyrics. I wonder if Sim Daly has decided on a song. We've got quite a few suggestions, so yeah, we'll pass these along. Um, yeah, don't let the sun go to waste. Yeah, beautiful. It's a very beautiful lyric. Yeah. So next we have a talk from Shubnam Chopra about youth in arts and health innovation. Shubnam is founder of 10 by 10 Feet, a pioneering neuro art studio. Shubnam is also a neuro artist and an architect. Is Shubnam around? Wait a couple of minutes, if that's okay, for Shubnam.
Hi everyone, welcome once again. My name is Churemi and I'm live at the studio here in Port Harcourt. Thank you so much for joining. I'll be performing a song I wrote titled Deepest Warmest Love. And this song says that no matter where we're at life, we should make sure that what we're given is our deepest, warmest love, especially to those who do not have the opportunities that we do. Enjoy. Walking through the streets, I'm more aware that if I must love, I must give. That's so the very blind can push down those walls, and the lame rule the world as kings. For this I must give. Sooner or later we should know. Oh, that we can try and try to show. Oh, that all we can give is nothing less than our deepest, deepest, warmest love. or none discovered still. Yet an ounce of will suffice. That so this little child can run wild and free, and his dreams become reality. For this I must be, for this I must give. Whoa, sooner or later we should know. Oh, that we can try and try to show. Oh, that all we can give is nothing less than our deepest, warmest love. Than our deepest, warmest love. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you. So that was a musical interlude from Chiremi. Yeah, again, very beautiful song and some lovely comments in the chat. Unfortunately, Shubnam was disconnected. Oh, Shubnam's back. Here we go. I'll pass on to Shubnam. Shubnam, I think you might be on mute. So if you just unmute your microphone.
Hello. Hello. Am I audible to you guys?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So, hello guys. So, shall I share my screen?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Is it visible to you guys?
Yeah, we can see it. Thank you.
So hello. Myself Shubham Chopra. I am here to share my dreamy story of founding the healing power of arts through innovation. So please be patient. Please do concentrate. This story belongs to the every dreamer out there. You may find your own story within mine. So this story started in 2020 when I was in my quarantine in my 10 by 10 feet size room. And it all started when I picked the pen and found the magic of flow in arts. I got hooked to the meditative process and I got hooked to the joy of creation. That process and that joy have gradually grown during my study in architecture. In 2022, I graduated initially like everyone. I followed the existing path and got a stable job as an architect. But the same joy and the same relief was missing in the architectural layouts. And in mid 2023, I decided to step out of my comfort zone and embark the pathless journey to know myself, to know about my expression, to know about my art, and what is the real calling of my art. And then for the first year, I just sat down and created art, a lot of art, a lot of intuitive thoughts, a lot of random expressions. In 2024, I found it 10 by 10 feet. I aim to reach out to the public through a product in hand. And for initially, I chose merchandise because I don't want to sell my art. I believe it will be sold in auction houses one day. I believe in the amount of value this art holds. I started taking my merchandise to the events. I started talking to people about my art. I started selling stuff. So, but I felt the connection was still was missing between the art and the people. So then in early 2025, an idea came to my mind, an innovative approach to the art. I dreamt to create an immersive experience, but as in every other small startup, lack of resources became my obstacle. It demands heavy technology, but I had only one thing, a heavy determination. Fire inside me didn't let me lose my hope. I built a light and shadow based immersive installation instead, which was pocket friendly, and the impact was near to similar. And then now the installation was ready, but I didn't have a venue to showcase it. A lot of calls were made, but no one was interested. But I believe I am guided by the universe. It gives you back when you put your pure intention in your work. And finally, universe shows its power. It connected to me an extremely positive lady, Jasleen, at a random event. I shared my idea of installation with her. She liked that a lot and said, "Why don't you exhibit this in our exhibition?" I was amused. I was shocked. I was happy. And she said, "We are having an art exhibition in our architecture studio this weekend. Why don't you exhibit over there?" I immediately said yes to her. I went to my studio and prepared for the showcase. I picked my stuff on the weekend and installed my experience over there. I was expecting people to take it normally, but the reactions were a lot different. Each and every person was amused. These were the people who were experienced my installation. People caught it that as a new, calming, relaxing experience. I got the reaction which I have been waiting for since day one. I witnessed the real connection of art and the human. That is the healing power of arts. That was my breakthrough moment in this journey. It exposed me to my real calling, and I was hooked with the feedback, as more than 60% quoted this as a therapeutic experience. That's how I got exposed to the arts and health. And then that unlocked a new vision for me, that ignited a new fire inside me. I was amazed by the healing power of arts. I started working on that. I started finding the right audience for the healing arts. I did exhibitions in school, wellness studios, events, DJ gigs. I did workshops in the university studios, online and offline. But I felt these are not the right audience to start with. I remembered all I was talking to them about the uncertain moments in our lives, which art helps us to manage. And then I thought, maybe we are finding health in arts. We should start finding arts in health. Then it leads me to go and check major healthcare centers in the city, observe their environments. I observed their art involvement. I observed their people. They were tense. They were silent. They were panicked. And I felt, yes, these were the uncertain moment that I was talking about. And from then onwards, I have made healing arts a mission in my life and transformed 10 by 10 feet into an arts and health lab, which aims to enhance healthcare spaces through healing arts. And here is a quick showcase of my visual language, which I have evolved over the years. In 2020, it started with an intuitive thoughts, and then it leads to 2023 when it have evolved fully into a visual language, and that visual language in 2025 has found its core, its healing part of it, and I have moved towards the healing part of my art that gives the healing to the people. And this was the installation that I was talking about, which was a landmark installation in my journey. It has the fractals for the mental peace, it has fluidic shadows for the immersion, it has tactile experience for the senses. So I will play this. Yeah. So, in the end of the story, I want to conclude this journey with the poem that I have written. Art is not there to feed us. Art is not there to pay us. Art is not there to shed us. Art is there to make us more human. Art is there to so we can breathe through emotions. Art is there to help us deal with the uncertain moments in our lives. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Shubnam. So great to hear your story. I love the visual timeline of how you came to explore the healing arts, and your motivation really comes through as well. Some
Yeah.
lovely comments for you to read as well in the chat. I'll pass on to my co-host Jenny to introduce the next section.
Hi, everyone, and thank you again. I loved your poem so much. It was so beautiful. Next, we're moving on to our second panel discussion, which is Emerging Perspectives, International Early Career Scholars Shaping Arts and Health. This session is going to highlight young voices shaping the global field of arts and health. Our moderator is Alex Rodriguez, who is a PhD candidate in public health, as well as a graduate research associate for the Center of Arts and Medicine at the University of Florida, which is where I also attended. She is a think tank board member, American Journal of Public Health, health policy research scholar, and a part of the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. I'm personally a big fan of her work and her open access research that is helping making arts and health scholarship more widely available. Joining us today are three early career leaders, and that is Ethan Chen, who is a public health researcher and advocate working at the intersection of culture, systems, and care. Akshay Parekh, who is an expressive arts therapist, mental health counselor, and director of the Punt Arts and Health Festival, and Dr. Sanmi Oduntan, who is a medical doctor and arts and health researcher who has collaborated with the World Health Organization. And I apologize in advance if I pronounced any of your names wrong. And with that, I turn over to Alex to guide this important discussion. And as you listen, I invite you to drop any reflections or questions into the chat, and we'll bring them in if time allows.
Gracious day, everyone. I'm not soon to be Dr. Alex Rodriguez. I'm actually Dr. Sinead Birch, but Alex is a close friend. I most recently was a postdoc with the University of Florida Center for Arts and Medicine and journeyed with One Nation, One Project as the postdoctoral researcher. But I stand before you today an independent scholar. And so I am here as an executive director of a Black women's health initiative based in Boston, Massachusetts, that is called Community Conversation Sister to Sister. So it is an honor to be stepping in on behalf of Alex and to be in conversation with scholars that I met through the University of Florida's research lab. Before just offering that as a preface, in case anyone's like, wait a minute, that's not Alex. Alex and I do share a deep love for health policy through our work with RWJ. And so just thinking about how significant it is for us to be arts and health scholars through that program, really excited to be here thinking beyond our context that often sticks within a Western discourse. So, and that's okay, Jenny, please excuse me. Yeah, I want to just immediately recenter attention to those who are here to share their emerging perspectives. Just to begin, we had brief bios, but let's check in. Let's have a moment to bring all of our panelists' voices into the room and just really get started with a very, an introduction of like, how do you want to, express yourself and share who you are today? And maybe you can share a bit of a story, Ifan, Sami, and Akshata, about, what inspired you to pursue arts and health? How did you get here? How did you get in this room? Who would like to go first?
I could go first. I'm muted already. Okay, hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. It's such a pleasure for me to be here. I'm so excited. This is such a rich conversation and such an amazing audience. And so far, the event has been amazing. I'm so thankful for being here. So my journey in arts and medicine, or in arts and health, as we now call it, started in Lagos, Nigeria in 2017. I was a part of the Global Arts and Medicine Fellow. At the time, it was just Arts and Medicine Nigeria. So it's now become something global. It's now become something that so many people here are now a part of. But then it was just Arts and Medicine Nigeria. Now it's Global Arts and Medicine Fellowship. So doing that while in medical school exposed me to the day-to-day effects that arts could have on health, arts could have in medicine. So quite a number of times, a part of the program included actually going into the hospital and, having arts and health sessions with the people who were in the hospital at the time. And that was so amazing for me because I like to tell people that my mind was blown by how much change there was seeing the patient first meeting. I mean, some of these people were people I knew that I was taking care of from the medical aspect, so to speak. So some of these people were actually my patients. And then coming in as an arts and health practitioner and seeing how much effect, how much change was happening, and seeing how short a time, how effective it was, how efficacious it was mind-blowing to me. So it kind of made me, first of all, it made me very interested, like, okay, how exactly can we how exactly can we ensure that this gets to everybody as fast as possible? And then secondly, it also it sparked a conversation in my head. It made me want to know from the scientific aspect, how exactly is this happening? What exactly is causing this to happen? You know, because I mean, we came with just paintbrushes at the time. We came with just paintbrushes and a canvas. Some other sessions, it was just one musician. And seeing that much change, I wanted to know, okay, what exactly about the art was causing this mind-blowing effect. So that's how I got here. And then so far, it's been since 2018. So it's been meeting people, doing the research, doing the work, trying as much as possible to raise awareness, and also integrating a lot of what I've seen in arts and health into my personal practice as a doctor. So given that I work in a complex healthcare system, in a resource-limited country, in a resource-limited setting, it means that when I see opportunities like arts and health that allow patients to have more for less, then I basically grabbed it with both hands. I hope I've been able to explain that in a short, time.
In such a beautiful way. And for context, for anyone who wasn't here, you participated in a really special event earlier this month, where really speaks to the expanse of arts and health in Nigeria. Who would like to introduce themselves next?
Okay, I can go. I think I like stories, and I'm going to Shanae, thank you so much for giving that prompt as well. I think my journey into the arts and health started with a personal experience when I lost my father, and I stopped dancing. And a couple of months after, my teacher told me, "No, you must come for dance class again." And I was like, "No, I don't want to dance." She's like, "Okay, just come and observe." And I knew it in my heart that when I'm going to go for my dance class, I'm not going to just observe, and I'm going to start moving. And I think that was the beginning of my healing journey. And that's how I moved from studying journalism to actually going back and studying psychology, as well as doing different therapy certifications, and then kind of got myself into doing expressive arts therapy. And it so happened that I landed up in a hospital setting for my internship, and my whole perspective kind of changed from just looking at therapy or therapeutic settings with the arts, but also kind of moving into a broader umbrella of arts and health, and really looking at how arts could be contributive along the bedside of the patients, going through different kind of procedures and treatments. And so it seems like a journey of 12 long years. That's what's got me to arts and health right now. And it's just started with a personal story, moved into really looking at how professionally I could contribute to the field of arts, and to health, and then really looking at the benefits and the joy and the color that it adds to something which is very linear, something which is more black and white, or just very, in an environment which is more not so colorful, I would say. So yeah, that's been my journey with arts and health.
It's so beautiful to hear. And for those on the call who I am familiar with, I write about this concept of grief love, how there's really no space between those words. You know, we really have to name where it hurts to hold this question of like, what else can it be? And what better than the arts, right? To hold that question with us as we imagine and create space for, yeah, this world that we're actively building. So thank you for the color to which you share in detail. And last but not least, an introduction from Yvonne. Yvonne, how did you end up in arts and health? And tell us a bit about yourself. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Shanae. It's really great to see you here, and I love the color of your lips. Yeah, looks amazing. So a bit about myself. My name is Ifan, and I think like many others in this meeting now, my journey also wasn't like a linear one. My academic path began at Peking University. I studied in my school called Health Humanities, and one of the first thing I was told, we were told was the humanities are the other wing of medicine. And actually, that sentence stayed with me after like almost 10 years now. And over time, I've come to understand that just how necessary, the second wing or the other wing is if we want our systems to fly. And earlier in my like in my experiences, I worked for biomedical kind of companies or like pharmaceutical companies and also healthcare consulting. And these experiences actually taught me how, the large healthcare systems operate and also how often they fail to answer the call for human-centered care. And I still remember like designing kind of frameworks to improve treatment access to patients with rare diseases. But at some point, I started wondering, are we actually building systems that, really care or just systems that manage illness? And, this question actually shifted my path from consulting from healthcare, from pharmaceutical companies to stories, to arts, and to imagination. And whether through music, through stories, through visual arts, all of them remind us that health and well-being isn't just about clinical diagnosis or treatment, but also about connection, about meaning and about dignity. And today I sort of feel my journey echoing with some scholars called the waves of public health. So in the early waves, they focused on sanitation, focused on medicine development and behavior change. And now we're focusing more on social determinants of health. And some scholars start to arguing that, we're now entering a fifth wave, which is one that centers culture, care, and collective imagination. And that's, the wave I'm hoping to work to help shape and also I feel like most at home. Yeah, that's it.
Incredible. I mean, I feel so lucky to hear your stories in succession, to hear them together and interwebbed, knowing so much of it is like I'm like literally tearing up because Yvonne and I worked on a concept of, restful research, which is a talk for another day. But in like hearing these stories, I'd love to drop down a little bit deeper into maybe spotlighting one of the projects that you're working on. And with this question, then maybe you can describe something that you're working on and maybe what impact you see it having in your community in real time. And if you want to, to keep it spicy, you could maybe lift up a challenge. We have solutions within us and in this large group of people. So feel free to share whatever accelerators or breaks you're experiencing with this arts and health project that you want to spotlight today. Perhaps should I popcorn it, or does someone immediately want to jump in? Do you want to go in another order? Yifan, would you like to go first this time?
Yep, sounds nice. So actually, I'm joining you all from Singapore right now, and at the Center for Music and Health at the National University of Singapore in US, I help coordinate research projects that examine my participatory music programs, whether it's community drumming programs or community choir that aims to support health and well-being for both university students, but also older adults and people living with chronic conditions. And I would say these projects are not simply creative workshops or interventions. Everything we do is about research. It's about building the evidence base, and we're using both like a mixed methods approaches, including like qualitative and quantitative, and also participatory research methods, to not just understand the impact in numbers, but also try to understand the meaning making process embedded in these practices. I think what excites me most is not just studying the intervention impact, but also working with different stakeholders and community partners to try to build the infrastructure that allows these interventions to scale up. We form partnerships across sectors. We co-design interventions and evaluation frameworks with our community partners, and we try to advocate embedding the arts into healthcare systems and also in a community systems. I think one current example is one of our upcoming event, which is called Healing Arts Singapore, in collaboration with Jamil Arts and Health Lab and WHO, World Health Organization. So this event actually brings together different stakeholders across research, across practice, and policy, and we just gather together to envision like how arts and health can look like and can be embedded more deeply into the systems of care. It will be happening in December, so stay tuned on that. And I think another example is the Chinese arts and health work that I founded in like almost 2 years ago. Because having the privilege to live and work in China, US, and Singapore, I kind of seen how the meanings of health, care, and even arts and expression can shift across different cultures. But there's like one thing that remains the same. That is, the human need for connection and the power of arts to reach where the medical systems can often not able to reach. So this kind of collective is aimed to kind of bring together, regional collaboration, dialogues, and knowledge exchange. And in terms of the impact, I think the impact is not only, lies in papers or like numbers, but also in those very tiny, small human moments. On this Thursday, I was at one of the community centers here at Singapore. They have these active aging centers, which embedded in the community and residence areas where they provide, health services, but also more than health services, but also, arts activities and exercises, things like that. And we're doing this community choir programs with them. And those, seniors are just smiling at me, even though we don't know each other at all, like 2 weeks before. So I think all of these incredible moments are just the impact of our work.
That's beautiful, Yifan.
Yeah.
Oh, please excuse me. I didn't
No,
mean
no,
to I didn't mean to cut you off. But that really just speaks to the masses, but also your particular experience in these various contexts allows for a shift in redistributing, right? The impact.
Yeah.
Akshata, would you like to share with us a spotlight of your project? I'm sensitive that we started a few minutes behind, but I'm not certain if we've been given more time. So maybe someone will DM me. But Akshata,
Okay.
please share with us what the one project is that you'd like to spotlight in this conversation.
Sure. I think I'm tuning in from Pune, India. It's in the western part of India. And one project that is really close to my heart right now is, and something that I've mentioned before in my introduction as well, working along the bedside of the patient. So currently we've come up with a booklet. And this is it's a research project specifically catering to individuals who are going through chemotherapy. And this is a 12-week project. All the prompts of of the project has been given in the booklet. So it is an expressive arts intervention. So it uses music, movement, writing, visual arts, drama, all like literally looking at the interconnectedness of the arts. So every time a patient comes in for their chemotherapy cycle, we kind of present the booklet to them and they can choose the activity that feels the closest to them. And of course, all of them also have an objective of why a certain prompt has been given, considering the needs analysis, considering some information they've given us before, and then we work through those different narratives. And I think like this project has created a lot of arts and how arts can be beneficial for health and can be used as treatment modality, especially when we look at holistic approach to health, especially in a hospital setting when everyone is so concentrating on the physical symptoms and the procedures and the treatment. The arts really kind of help in bringing that holistic perspective. So we've co-created this program with the patients, along the patients, as well as the nursing staff. And we are leading this project in like 2 different hospitals in Pune. I think this project is really close to my heart also because every time I go into the ward, they always are looking at like, oh, what material do you have for us? What are we going to do today? And some of the things that actually patients come and tell me is like, we come to the hospital these days only to see what new can we do today instead of just like concentrating on the treatment. And I think like Irfan also said, like, yes, research is a part of it, publication is a part of it, but I think these human experiences and these human exchange is like a bigger impact. And I think that's really beneficial and important. So that's a lot to do in the hospital setting, but the other part of it is the studio work, which is like bringing in the communities together, really looking at how the cultural aspects of Pune kind of come in together, and how can we use the arts, the folk art, the traditional arts that are there in our culture, in our tradition, because India comes from a vast cultural background, and how can we use the arts that we already know and have, and how can we use that and bring it back to the communities from a perspective of healing and from a perspective of, you know, just coming in together and connecting with each other. So I guess these 2 projects are really close to my heart, and something that we've seen that has grown over time as well.
There are so many layers to co-creation in this experience with the patients, with community members, with the full team. That's really exciting. Dr. Sanvi, we'd love to hear from you. Also sensitive about time, but take the stage and share with us a spotlight of a current project that you're working on. I know that you began to share in your intro.
Yes. I had a feeling this was going to happen. So in my intro, I already mentioned that a major project that is dear to me now is ensuring that in my own practice as a medical doctor, I'm incorporating art in health as possible. I'd also like to spotlight the World Health Organization Lancet series that was recently completed with the Jamil Art and Health Lab. It's really special to me having an opportunity to work on that, as well as the results that we've gotten from there. You know, not a lot of it has been, some aspects of it haven't been shared with the world yet, but, you know, we're still reeling from a lot of the, so to speak, discoveries that we've made from there. Because, I mean, it's easy to say, oh, yes, art can be used for non-communicable diseases, for prevention, for health promotion. But then actually seeing the tangible numbers has been such an amazing experience. Then the third thing I would like to mention, which is also very close to my heart, I'm calling in from Lagos, Nigeria, which is in West Africa. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a resource-limited setting, especially for healthcare here. So what I'm currently working on is as regards to mental health. So a little backstory. The Mental Health Act law was passed, I think, 2-3 years ago. And basically, we've just moved from calling it insanity to calling it mental health or mental illness now. So we've just gotten to that point. So that gives you an idea of how much stigma, how much the name calling that and the stigma that is basically associated with mental health now. However, despite that we have a new mental health law, art is still not recognized as art is still, it's not recognized in any way at all in the treatment of mental health, despite the fact that a lot of art and health actually went into ensuring that we have the new law now. So it's like we got to this point and then we find out, oh, a rule was passed, but art is still not being recognized as a modality for helping or for the treatment, prevention, or any aspect at all in mental illness or mental health. So currently, what I'm working on is, first of all, ensuring that maybe we've not been able to create enough awareness. Maybe we've not spoken to the right people yet. So there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of liaising with mental health advocates, mental health bodies. Apart from letting the lay people know, I also want the people who are at the forefront of mental health and mental illness advocacy in Nigeria to be aware that, okay, there is something called art in health, and this is the way we can incorporate art engagement for mental health and mental well-being. So that's also something that is ongoing. And then thirdly, there's also the research aspect. We're trying to see, okay, how much research do we actually have in this space, not the global research, not what is happening in the US, what is happening right here, where I am in my own community. So I guess that's it. Thank you.
No, that's beautiful. We actually were given more time, so we have time for this third question. And of course, I'll just invite people, if you do have questions emerging for our panelists, please drop them into the chat, and I'll see how I can bake them in. Again, thank you to our co-host for giving just a little bit more time to kind of sit with these projects and in the context of thinking about the future. Which Alexis DeVow, a feminist, says is our next breath. What would you say, looking ahead, what would you say are your hopes for your work and really the broader field of arts and health? There's so much going on in the world right now in the context of this short conversation, but also in the span of whatever that point of time is for you, whether it's last year, 2020, or much sooner. You know, I think that there are a lot of things to say. So what are your hopes for your work and the broader field? And Samni, can we have you kick it off?
Yes, sure. So for my work, my hope for arts and health as regards my work would be for a situation where I get less questions about arts and health, not because I don't want people to be curious, but because I want arts and health to be actually known as a thing. Like I want it to have its own, you know, it's a budding field, it's an evolving field, it's an emerging field, but I cannot wait for the time when it is like respected, where, you know, because I come in sometimes and then my patient is like, yeah, I know you as a doctor, but what's this one? Like, what's this practice you're talking about, you know? So as much as possible, I can't wait for the awareness to become more. And then for the world, I'm also looking forward to a time where the youth, that, you know, just bringing this in. I think, I'm not sure if this applies to other countries, but in Nigeria, I'm really looking forward to a time where the youth are involved in the policy making, in the actual nitty-gritty of things like arts and health, where it's like young people are the ones pushing it. Young people are the ones making the rules concerning these things, especially for mental health, because in situations like that, you know, there's almost a disconnect between, like, there's an intergenerational disconnect, so to speak, you know. It's like a young person is saying something, but the older person is hearing something else. And I would really just like a time where maybe not calling the shots, but at least as a seat at the table. I'm truly looking forward to that. And so, and in general, just a better world, a world more accepting of art as something serious. You know, I was reading a write-up recently about how you say arts are not, they're not serious like the science, but then at funerals you read poetry. When you're happy, you sing songs. When you feel tense, you dance, you know. So it's like we know instinctively that arts it's a part of us, it's something important, it's like the essence, it makes life easier, it makes life worth living. But at the same time, there's the rational part of maybe of the human experience that just wants to reduce what art is or what art can do. So I'm truly looking forward to a time where there's a balance, basically. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to that too. Akshita?
Yeah, I think I totally resonate with what Sanmi has to say. I think like a lot of my work goes into explaining people what I do constantly. And I think I want to I'm hopeful and I want to live that day where I don't have to tell people what I do and we just kind of come in together to create and have fun and express through the arts, whether it is communities or specific populations. um, I'm hopeful to looking at how arts can be integrated into all kind of systems, having a systemic change in a more holistic approach to health, looking at policy changes. So absolutely like looking at getting everyone together for creation, for healing, and definitely not explaining myself what I do. I think that's a big part of the hopes for the future, just to create a more holistic approach to health.
Thank you. And last but not least, Yifan.
Thanks, Sinead. Like beautiful statements, cannot agree more. And for my hopes for future, I hope we move toward a health system that are not only more equitable, but also more imaginative. And I also hope funding, education, and policy frameworks can evolve to support creative and arts as a long-term infrastructure for creative care and not just, isolated interventional programs anymore. And I really hope we can recognize that arts not only as tools for expression, but also as a blueprint that for how systems might learn to listen and adapt and dignify. And I think I also want to thank for all the incredible mentors and collaborators who've helped shift my journey, whether it's in China, in US, or in Singapore. And this work can never be done alone. And this work requires like many literacies across different interdisciplinaries. I think the more we allow ourselves to move across these kind of registers, the more we can help to shape a public health that is not only evidence informed or evidence based, but also culturally grounded and emotionally resonant. Thank you.
Wow, truly, truly an honor to be in this world with you, to know that in these various corners of the earth, your direct communities get to experience your vision, your drive, your love, not only of art and health, and really the ways that by your existence, you're converging this Venn diagram really to a whole circle, to speak to the wholeness, to speak of the adaptation, the systemic change, and also the reality that, we're arts and health scholars, researchers, practitioners. We are at the front lines. And what that means is that we're changing the atmosphere. So thank you for allowing us to listen to your stories, for creating a helpful narrative. I hope that those on the call are inspired, empowered to really hold these questions for yourself. It's really nice to sit back and go, how did I get here? And what's driving me forward? What is my why? And to hold that hope towards the future, because you're creating it by being here too. So thank you. I'll pass it now to Jenny. Thank you again for the additional time. And please reach out to these amazing people on this panel to share with you their advice and encouragement, because they've had some twists, some turns, some detours, but clearly some very clear accelerators and not that many breaks. Take care.
Yes, thank you so much, Sinead, for guiding the conversation, and apologies again for missing the introduction that you were covering. You did such a fantastic job, and thank you to all of our panelists for sharing such powerful insights as well. I hope everyone listening found something to take back into your own communities or practice. And up next, we have Ask Chris Fireside Chat, which is a chance to hear directly from leaders shaping the global arts and health movement. We're joined by Christina Williams, a World Health Organization Arts and Health Lead, co-founder of the Jameel Arts and Health Lab, developmental advisor, lawyer, and one of our Young Leaders Arts and Health Global Goodwill Ambassadors. And in conversation with her is Dr. Christopher Bailey, Arts and Health Lead at the World Health Organization and co-founder as well of the Jameel Arts and Health Lab, who has helped bring creativity and storytelling into how we think about health worldwide. I'm so excited for this dialogue, and I'll hand it over to Christina to lead us in it.
Thank you, Jenny. Let me just clarify really quickly. Dr. Bailey is the one with all the titles. Yes, I am a global goodwill ambassador for the Young Leader Arts and Health Initiative. So very happy to join you in that capacity here this afternoon. I'm also a part of the WHO Youth Council. So a bit of the family there, Dr. Bailey. And we'll be having the conversation here today. I'm actually joining you from Switzerland as well, but I am Jamaican and I'm based in Jamaica and I'm an attorney at law and health activist in my country.
What are you doing in Switzerland?
I'm actually here meeting with some Swiss young people and some other young people from across Europe. We are discussing how we can, I guess, build more youth empowerment and youth engagement, particularly in this side of the world. So really excited to have been here. And after this, I hope to see a little bit of Zurich. All right. So Dr. Bailey, as introduced by Jenny, you have so many titles. And, as young people, we're so accustomed to meeting world leaders or hearing of them. But I think we'd love to hear from you at the heart, at your core. Who is Dr. Bailey?
I am the oldest youth leader of Arts and Health.
It's a good one.
No, I think at my heart, honestly, I'm a listener. My greatest skill is to be attentive to what's going on around me and to respond authentically to it. And I think that's when I was a young man, I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts and trained to be a professional actor. And I learned something called the Meisner technique. And it was exactly that. It was saying that if you want to perform, and that can be on stage or that could be in life, it's not just about dredging up your emotions and portraying them. It's about paying attention to what's around you and authentically responding to it. And that's what can be mesmerizing on stage. And that's also what I think can be effective in life, and particularly in community work. I found that throughout my career, if I go into a community, it doesn't matter where it is around the world, and I come in with an idea that I want to impose because I think it's such a good one, chances are it's not going to go anywhere. But if I come in with an open mind and an open heart and listen and respond to what's actually there, then maybe something interesting is going to happen.
So I'm hearing thus far that in order for us to have authentic response and authentic experiences, we have to do a little bit more listening.
Yes.
And I think that's so important.
Yeah, and I think if there's anything that I've been trying to encourage, particularly within WHO, which is by definition a technical UN agency and therefore a collection of experts who are supposed to know the answers, is I try and encourage my colleagues, yes, by all means, use your expertise, but keep it in your back pocket and take it out after you actually understand what's happening on the ground.
Agreed. Agreed. You seem to have this appreciation for co-ownership, particularly with the groups that you work with, co-ownership by communities. And in doing some research, I saw where you'd bring a script to the community, half of a script. You'd only write half of it, and you'd have the patients or the health staff complete it. What lessons do you think we could learn from that experience and others that you may have in terms of having more co-ownership with young people and young professionals?
Well, first of all, I should say that I didn't create that technique. It's from a guy named Augusto Boal, who wrote a book called Theater of the Oppressed. And he created something called Forum Theater. And it was a way of engaging communities and activating them to make sure that what was created was something that they didn't just have a sense of ownership of, but they actually owned. And so using theater to do that, where they become not just participants, they become the co-author of the narrative of their community. And so that's where I got it. And I'm not the only one who uses it. UNDP uses it all the time. It's gone well beyond its original context around the world. But I also think, when I first presented this idea to Dr. Tedros, our Director General, a number of years ago, uh, he automatically jumped to the conclusion that this would be an internal project, that it would be about WHO staff practicing arts in some way. And I said, no, I imagine this as a full technical program, not just an internal activity. And he said, well, isn't it important that WHO change its culture first before we bring it out into the world? And I said, in my experience at WHO over 20 years, I've found, if I've learned anything, it's that it's much easier to change the world than it is to change WHO. And in fact, if you want to change WHO, you have to change the world first, and then WHO will follow. And that's what we've done.
I love that. You actually described this idea for the Illinois Initiative as a crazy idea. That Dr. Tedros asked for some ideas, some crazy ideas, and you proposed this. Do you have any advice for us as young activists, young professionals in the space, in terms of how we introduce crazy ideas in a very hierarchical and, I would say, traditional sector of health?
Well, I think part of it is your goal isn't, as I just mentioned, to change the hierarchical organization. It is what it is. I think I've been somewhat, shall we say, revolutionary in the background at WHO, proposing these sorts of ideas. But the goal was to uh, take advantage of the strong points of WHO, surf them, and apply them in the communities. And that's why I co-founded the Jameel Arts and Health Lab. That's why I co-founded the Open MRS electronic medical record system and any number of networks and groups. That's why I support Kunle's work because of his networked approach. The NeuroArts Blueprint, the One Nation One Project that Jill Sankey at University of Florida spearheaded for a number of years. It's all about supporting networks, because the actual change is not going to be handed down from above from an organization like WHO or whomever else. The actual change begins and ends in the community. And the goal, the role for WHO is to be a convener, to provide evidence, to help make the case, to take that evidence and turn it into guidance for policy so it can be expanded to the most number of people and have it get paid for, um, and to amplify the success stories. But the actual change begins and ends in the community.
Understand. You mentioned the Jameel Arts and Health Lab. And for those of you who may not be familiar with it, it's a global initiative to measurably improve health and well-being through the arts. And they utilize a number of approaches such as scientific evidence, artist-led advocacy, and capacity building. And I saw that you have a study on mental health for young people coming out soon in October. I don't know if it's still too early or if we're jumping the gun a little bit here, Dr. Bailey, but do you have any early insights you could share with us here? Because I, for one, is very excited to see that report.
Well, I can't really share specific insights from the report yet. It's still in review and all of that. But what I can do is give some very concrete examples of some of the work that we do in mental health for young people. In my case, I work very often with groups that have experienced some form of conflict. So just to give three very quick, rapid examples, I have worked with a group in Lviv in Ukraine of young people who have been forcibly displaced from their homes on the Eastern Front. And we're experiencing the visible signs of extreme trauma, hair loss, lack of sleep, dissociation. And on this particular day that I'm describing, it was at a community center in Lviv. The children were brought together, the young people were brought together, Ukrainian music was played, and the only instruction that was given was match your movement and speed to a person next to you. And that's it. There was no choreography, there was no instruction. And the result was this incredibly complex dance organically emerged as people began to pay attention to each other. And suddenly they began to laugh, and their expressions became brighter. And the mid to long term effects was all of those symptoms of trauma began to recede measurably. And it's one of many examples of how movement and connection and music and rhythm can literally help bridge, help reassociate from the dissociation of trauma. Another example is a Nigerian example. There's a woman named Oyinda who's on the list on this meeting right now, who joined me in Kaduna province. Behind me, this photo you see is the Emir's Palace in Kaduna in Nigeria. And a good friend of ours named Ochayo Gaba would have these weekly dance events where he would bring in Christian and Islam practicing young people and have a dance. And it wasn't just dancing together, it was choreographing a dance together, having everyone's story authentically being told, but then intermingled in joint movement. And the peace building of that was phenomenal. And then the last example is a theater group that I'm working with in Gaza, where young people who have lost their homes, who are moved every few days because of the next bombing, have experienced extended extreme trauma, use theater to maintain their sense of identity and hope. There was one young woman who was asked a question, what would you like in the future? And she said, if you asked me that a year ago, I would have said, in the future, I would like to be a doctor or an astronaut. But today, I answer that question by saying, I would like to have a glass of water. Very powerful. And that gets us to, I think, the healing power of art for us. There's a quote from Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist, who said, loneliness is not the absence of people. Loneliness is the inability to express what matters to you most. And if you can do that, then you have a bridge to reconnection, to a sense of belonging, to a support for your search for authentic meaning in your life. And that's the ultimate goal. That's what the arts can do.
Indeed, which is why it's so important for us to remember that health has to be comprehensive, right? It's a complete social, emotional well-being, not just the physical aspect of it. And
yeah, and you're absolutely right. And that's why I get a little worried when we talk too much about the arts as, quote, treatment, because that falls into this deficit model of, okay, we have these disabilities or conditions that we have to correct. That's part of it, but I think the real power of the arts is not just the absence of disease and infirmity, but attaining the highest level of physical, mental, and social well-being. And it's the asset-based approach that I'm most interested in. I mean, I'll give an example of a report that came out in February about how it was from Daisy Fancourt in the Frontiers in Medicine journal, using a very large cohort analysis, she demonstrated how people who regularly practice the arts in some way have a much lower percentage of self-reported mental illness. And it went down from something like 35% of the population to 25%. Well, that's great, but I'm actually interested in that other 25%.
Agreed.
That have a chronic condition. How do you give them the tools to cope with that condition, to find meaning, to find productivity, to find a sense of community, regardless of what diagnosable condition they may or may not have? And that's where I think the power really resides.
Agreed. I hope we're all listening and taking ideas that may inspire us for additional work that we do in our communities. Unfortunately, we're a little out of time, so I'm going to ask the final question. I know we've been having such a great
A final
conversation here.
question. Oh boy.
Yes. So you have toggled back and forth between arts and health. And in some interviews, you've described how every time you probably selected arts, you were something missing, and you selected health, you also felt something missing. And you came to that great mix of both. Do you have any advice for young professionals on the call before you go, Dr. Bailey, about how to maintain their varied interests as activists, as writers, poets, playwrights, dancers, etc.? How they maintain these varied interests along with their professional pursuits?
Well, I think the main thing about creative expression is that it's a way of living. And I think in modern society where we try to commodify everything, we make the mistake of thinking, oh, if I can't make money at it, then I shouldn't waste my time if I can't be professional at it. And that's not really the power of the arts when you get it right down to it. It's about being able to live fully in the moment, connecting with others. And if the way to do that is through visual representation or a movement through space or a sound or a story, it doesn't matter, whatever winds your clock. A good meal, is a wonderful way of bringing community together. So my advice to any professional, whether it's an arts and health professional or not, is live what you preach, practice it every day, and enjoy it fully and share it.
Enjoy it fully and share it. Those are the words from Dr. Bailey today, for our young leaders for arts and health. Dr. Bailey, it was a pleasure having you here for a fireside chat. I know lots of our young people in the chat, they want to hear more from you. So if you're comfortable, maybe there is a platform that you'd want to share with us in the chat, or maybe we can share on your behalf, if you're comfortable, of course, that they may reach out to you on or just connect on other platforms. So once again, thank you, Dr. Bailey, and have the rest of a good afternoon.
If you've got the fireside, I've got the chat.
Indeed, indeed. All right, over to the host, Jenny.
Thank you guys so much. I was almost tearing up at multiple points. I got so many beautiful insights from that. And thank you, Christina, for leading the conversation and for Dr. Bailey for sharing. It's so wonderful to hear of things going well in the world and how we help areas that it's not so much. And now moving on, we're gonna watch a video, The World Leaders and Young Leaders Speak About Young Leaders in Arts and Health. And then after that, we're going to move on to Shivi hosting. Thank you all, everyone.
ZWAP.com. It's been amazing. It's been a real platform to have open and honest discussions and put young people at the heart of an event like this.
Look who we are the dreamers. We make it happen, guess we believe it. Look who we are the dreamers. We make it happen, cause we can see it. Here's to the ones that keep the passion. We we make it happen. Guess we believe it. Look who we are the dreamers. We make it happen, cause we can see it. It's to the ones that keep the passion. Respect, oh yeah. It's to the ones that can imagine. Respect, oh yeah. We are the dreamers, we make it happen. Guess we believe it. Look who we are the dreamers, we make it happen. Cause we can see it. It's to the ones that keep the passion. Respect, oh yeah. It's to the ones that can imagine. Respect, oh yeah.
ZWAP.com.
Look who we are the dreamers, we make it happen. Guess we believe it. Look who we are the dreamers, we make it happen. Cause we can see it. It's to the ones that keep the passion. Respect, oh yeah. It's to the ones that can imagine. Respect, oh yeah. Gather round now, look at me. Respect and love the only way. If you wanna come with me. The door is open now every day. This one plus two. Thank you, young leaders, for Look who we are the dreamers, we make it happen. Guess we believe it. Look who we are.
Wow, that was so inspiring. I mean, all of the initiatives being talked about and led by the movement of young arts. Wow, this
Shidi, you're muted.
Wow, this was an excellent display of how powerful movements of youth, arts, and health initiatives being displayed and led by the Global Arts and Medicine Fellowship. And now to proceed with the poetry performance, the spoken word performance by Mela Shell, Ladybird, and Footslane. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but yeah.
Re di kgweletsa bonono pheello ya diphetoho. Re fodisa a bonwang le a sa bonweng maqeba bona. Bona ke boetapele bongaka ba dikakapa methokgo ya rona. Ke bokgeleke le ha lefatshe le iphapantse le re kekoloha eka re tletse lekgwekgwe re tlhase tse tlabolang ho thoba dipelo mesuwe e rutang botho le ha batho e le tjhefu bothong tlholeho fetohile sekgoba masea a kakatwa basadi ba gagathwa banna e le dikganyapa tse hoholang maphelo mupi e ka wa re nyahamela ho bathapelo e se le tse lefifi fela ka mehla re phahlela ho abelwa lesedi. Bonono ke pholo sejara mefokolo ho busa re busa ka nnete e ka o tlisetsang kgolo ho thaba re thabisa ka ho fokotsa bothotho mahetleng re imetswe ke masene a bohlale bo ramahlale ba keke ba re qhekanyetsa ho ba re mekutu e utullang tsohle le bohle ba lekang ho thunthetsa ntshetsopele baetapele ho matlafatsa ho rona ho tlile pele bahlabani re kgothatsa ba phelang ho natlafala masole ntweng re hlanakela toka mabadi a takilweng dipelong tsa rona ke sesupo sa hore re lwanela kgotso re tswella ho kgwahlapisetsa nnete ya hore re bahale re tsepame ntlheng ya ho ranthanya ba bohale bokgopo mahare re phatsa ba tletseng bokgonatha hoba tokelo tsa botho ha se toro ke kgoro e bulelwang bo tjhatsi bokamoso ka rona ka bonono re ka boela boiketlong moo ho renang kgutso kgotso le kgora bonono.
Wow, that was absolutely powerful. I loved how she emphasized her messages through all of her strong actions throughout her spoken word performance. What a brilliant display of art. And next up, we have our panel discussion, music and public health and climate education and the role of youth engagement in co-designing social change through arts and culture. The moderator for today is Jada Lewis, who is the Vice President Vice President of Programs and National Environmental Education Foundation, NEEF. And our participating organizations are the Hip Hop Public Health panelist, Rincon Jagrila Moody, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, Kingsmaker Music, Jaden, who's an artist, and his mother, Chantel, and then Kingsmaker musician, Jahi, the director of the Youth Leadership, and Kingsmaker's Music and Kingsmaker of Oakland.
Thank you so much. He's not going to be part of the panel today. He had another event. But what an amazing event so far. I've just really enjoyed hearing the global perspectives of all the great initiatives that's going on. To start off our time today, we're going to show our animated music video entitled A Whole Lot, just to kind of set the tone and context for our conversation with the panel today. This music video was designed to help young people explore and express their emotions about climate change and also inspire them to be the change they want to see and take action in the world. And so I'm going to share my screen.
Love Mother Earth, protect Mother Earth. Waterways, mountains, do you know what it's worth? A whole lot. One planet, yeah, that's all that we got. Love Mother Earth, one Mother Earth. Oceans and atmosphere, know what it's worth? A whole lot. This planet, yeah, that's all that we got.
Maybe take you a hike, globe trotting the scenery and see what it's like. Keeping the emissions low, you can hop on a bike. I've been keeping my city pure and preserving the life.
We know that climate change is real, we can see it in the fire, man. Some don't believe it, I just don't understand it, fam. For those who understand, making community plans. Shout out to you for lending a helping hand.
Meditation, I'm in the space of the stratosphere. We can never thrive if we are hurting the atmosphere. Missing every commodity when you had it here, but you didn't care when Mother Nature was shedding tears.
Love Mother Earth, protect Mother Earth. Waterways, mountains, do you know what it's worth? A whole lot. One planet, yeah, that's all that we got. Love Mother Earth, one Mother Earth. Oceans and atmosphere, know what it's worth? A whole lot. This planet, yeah, that's all that we got. How you feel about it? Let's get real about it. Saw the people Southern California losing houses, sadness and fear, too much to bear. Sending out hope to overcome despair. Positive energy to all the continents. We all feel the pain and the powerlessness. A dose of empathy, gratitude and the music. Climate like all of humanity going through it.
Yeah, man, I hear you, it's too much panic. Overwhelming anxiety engulfing the planet. Flatlands to hills, we feel the frustration. Littering on the turf, the earth feel impatient. Mind racing, wind hit the trees. The news families grieve, we planting the new seeds, let's breathe. Inspire community, the earth will be free. And let love proceed.
Love Mother Earth, protect Mother Earth. Waterways, mountains, do you know what it's worth? A whole lot. One planet, yeah, that's all that we got. Love Mother Earth, one Mother Earth. Oceans and atmosphere, know what it's worth? A whole lot. This planet, yeah, that's all that we got.
Grammarly now uses AI to help you write, not just revise. Type a prompt and generate a persuasive, mistake-free draft in seconds, personalized to your unique writing style. Download it for free.
Love Mother Earth, protect Mother Earth. Waterways, mountains, do you know what it's worth? A whole lot. One planet, yeah, that's all that we got. Love Mother Earth, one Mother Earth. Oceans and atmosphere, know what it's worth? A whole lot. This planet, yeah, that's all that we got.
Maybe take you a hike, globe trotting the scenery and see what it's like. Keeping the emissions low, you can hop on a bike. I've been keeping my city pure and preserving the life.
We know that climate change is real, we can see it in the fire, man. Some don't believe it, I just don't understand it, fam. For those who understand, making community plans. Shout out to you for lending a helping hand.
Meditation, I'm in the space of the stratosphere. We can never thrive if we are hurting the atmosphere. Missing every commodity when you had it here, but you didn't care when Mother Nature was shedding tears.
Love Mother Earth, protect Mother Earth. Waterways, mountains, do you know what it's worth? A whole lot. One planet, yeah, that's all that we got. Love Mother Earth, one Mother Earth. Oceans and atmosphere, know what it's worth? A whole lot. This planet, yeah, that's all that we got. How you feel about it? Let's get real about it. Saw the people Southern California losing houses, sadness and fear, too much to bear. Sending out hope to overcome despair. Positive energy to all the continents. We all feel the pain and the powerlessness. A dose of empathy, gratitude and the music. Climate like all of humanity going through it.
Yeah, man, I hear you, it's too much panic. Overwhelming anxiety engulfing the planet. Flatlands to hills, we feel the frustration. Littering on the turf, the earth feel impatient. Mind racing, wind hit the trees. The news families grieve, we planting the new seeds, let's breathe. Inspire community, the earth will be free. And let love proceed.
Love Mother Earth, protect Mother Earth. Waterways, mountains, do you know what it's worth? A whole lot. One planet, yeah, that's all that we got. Love Mother Earth, one Mother Earth. Oceans and atmosphere, know what it's worth? A whole lot. This planet, yeah, that's all that we got.
Hello, I'm sorry, everyone. I just had some technical difficulties. Can everybody hear me now? I'm
Yes.
sorry. Well, everybody was jamming on a whole lot, and you really got to see the amazing work of Jaden and his team. I apologize for that. Um, So we're just going to go and jump right in to our panel since we're running behind time. Joining us is Jaden, of course, the artist and co-creator of a whole lot, working in partnerships with Kingmakers of Oakland to uplift youth, creativity, and expression. As mentioned, we're joined by his mother, Chantelay Shaw, a committed community member who champions youth voice and agency. And finally, Rankin, a youth ambassador with Hip Hop Public Health, where he delivers important health messages through the lens of hip hop culture. As mentioned in previous sessions, if you do have questions, please just put them in the chat. So let's just jump right in. Jaden, what made you want to be a part of a whole lot?
Well, uh, I was like invited by my the other person on the song, Jahi, and at the time it was like my first time recording in like a professional studio, so that was pretty cool. And then like I would say at the time, like the issue of climate change is kind of what intrigued me into being a part of a whole lot, because at the time there was a lot of fires, like the LA fires was going on and things like that, and it kind of saddened me a little bit. Um, and like me being able to talk about, something powerful and um like me being able to communicate like that powerful message through my creativity is kind of another reason why I wanted to be a part of it. Uh, and like I knew from my participation that I would, be being paid. So I appreciated that and I felt like appreciated in the end as well. So
Great. Let's jump into Chantelay. What was your experience as a parent seeing Jaden create and perform in this space? And what do you see your role in helping him and others speak out on issues like climate change and public health?
yeah, thank you. Um, I'm really proud of my son, Jaden, and the other young people that co-created with him on this piece. Jaden has always been a person that really speaks up for his peers, and a whole lot. The Climate Emotions video, he took something really big, and pretty overwhelming, climate change, and was really able to turn it into some art, music that really helps other people feel like seen, young people feel seen and heard, and was very courageous for him to do that as a young person. And um, my role, support him and his peers, show up at events, like this, make sure they feel encouraged, they have resources, they have platforms, to share their voices, listen to their ideas, try to connect them with people and resources and organizations that will give them the platforms to do those things. And then to like model what resilience would look like in the face of obstacles when they do come, because there are always obstacles, especially when the problems and the projects feel very huge. Um, yeah, so, like Jaden said, the fires that have been going on, um, he has the voice, they have the voice, they have that perspective, climate is changing, the different um, elements of our youth's lives are being impacted, from sports to how they show up at school to just, everyday thing, whether or not they can practice in the afternoons or they have to start practicing in the morning because it's so hot. The number of days over 100 degrees all over the world is increasing. So just different things like that, and just encouraging them to speak up about their experiences, really.
Thank you so much. Going back to you, Jaden, what do you hope other young people or even adults take away from the lyrics and the
Um,
performance of a whole lot?
yeah, well, for me, I hope people can take away like a sense of accountability,
for what they can do to actually, make change and to, make a difference and to also like inspire others to do the same. And as far as my lyrics, I just want to, make people think. I hope to make people think and and to consider like other perspectives, where climate change, does affect other people. And when you're able to, share a peace of mind, um, you're enabled to be more compassionate and considerate, for the things that they go through. And and I truly feel like we should hold like have that same compassion and consideration for the earth because it deserves it. So yeah.
Well, I'm sure that message really came through, especially that hook, right? It's really compelling and it really plays in your mind once you hear it. So great work on the
Mhm.
lyrics to you and the rest of the Kingmakers team. Um, I'll throw it to you, Rincon. You've worked with hip hop public health since high school and now you're starting medical school. What keeps you involved in this space?
Thank you, Jada, for that question. I think I started working with Hip Hop Public Health, which was the team that produced the music video with Jaden, I think 6 years ago. So back when I was 16, I learned about the program. And I think what stuck out to me was the fact that seeing how the music is able to reach young people, right? Like oftentimes, when kids go into the classroom or go to school to learn about a certain topic, they're having people just talking to them and telling them this is this. But when they're able to learn through music, it truly taps into a part of their brain that I don't think any other type of learning really does. And that's why music videos like what Jaden just made um, are so important and so valuable because they kind of show young people that there's other ways to learn about these really important topics. And when I learned about Hip Hop Public Health 6 years ago and the different music videos that they were making for students, I realized that like it was going to be really important to try and get those resources, those songs into the hands of more students. And so what we did over the course of the last 5 years now is we've worked to turn all these music videos one by one into actual lessons that teachers can take into the classroom, use the music videos in the classrooms, and teach students using music instead of just talking to them all the time. And I think it's a really exciting and engaging way to simplify really complicated topics, whether that's something like climate change, for example, in a way that young people can understand what's going on. And then by understanding it, think about ways that they can make an impact in their community and make change. And that's why I've been so committed to the work that we do with Hip Hop Public Health and are so excited to see this collaboration with Kingmakers and see resources like the video that Jaden just showed be shared with more and more students so that they too can get inspired.
A follow-up question to that. How do you think youth voice and creativity can shape public health and climate solutions?
Absolutely. I think one of my favorite parts about hip hop public health and the resources that we make with creators is our goal is to reach youth early in their life because we all know this that many of the healthy habits and the information that we have as we grow older largely comes from the time we have as kids. It's when we're youth, it's the time when children are most malleable and able to learn and take in new information. And so by educating students with these types of resources, it helps get them started on thinking about important topics like climate change from a really early age. And when we think about how the problem of climate change is going to be something that's going to impact younger and younger generations, it's more important now more than ever that we're teaching younger generations about climate change earlier and earlier. And by using voice and create youth voice and creativity, you're able to make that happen, right? Through music videos like what Jaden did, you're able to teach kids about climate change a lot earlier. And also the youth voice, an important thing to mention is social media. I think social media is a really important tool in the sense that it allows us to amplify the messages that we are most passionate about. And I think tools like music and art are honestly the most well-designed types of tools that can be shared via social media so that more people can learn more. So I think that's how the youth voice can kind of factor into making climate solutions a greater possibility going forward.
Thank you so much, Rinkin. This will be our last question before we address any questions from the chat. And so I'm going to ask the panelists for this final question. Each one of you respond to, what does true co-creation with youth look like? We can start off, let's start off with Shantali.
Yes, thank you. For me, it looks, like designing with them, not for them, from the very beginning of whatever their creative process is. Um, as adults and institutions and organizations and firms and all of that, being able to take a step back, listen, value what the young person's perspective and vantage point and lived experience is, and taking that as their expertise, creating some shared decision-making structures, giving them access to tools and resources that they can use, or maybe even redesign to help them bring their ideas to life, and giving them autonomy over how they do that. And making sure that they are active as partners, not necessarily just, faces that are on the front and forefront of the message, but they're actually involved in that. And, I love the fact that art is being spotlighted, art, music, the different versions and types of art, modes and methods in which it's shared. We use that as people to share stories, right? To make sure that things stick. Like Rincon was saying earlier, that's how information is also retained. And so using that to share stories, generation, and passing things down from generation to generation. We use music, we use painting, we use other types of visual arts and performing arts to be able to tell those stories. And, giving them space to do that, I think, is a beautiful thing, and is relatable. And then also paying them for their efforts. Like Jaden
Very
said, he was
important.
paid for his work, and the appreciation goes beyond the receipt of the art and the work and the display, but the actual compensation for the hard work and thoughtfulness that the young people put into what they're doing. So yeah.
Yeah, that's so important, Shantali, to really value the work of these young artists and not really take advantage, right? To
Right.
really invest in them and their expertise, because they're
Yeah.
really experts at what they're doing, creating the beats, the lyrics, the production, everything that's involved with these videos. Jaden, you want to jump in on what co-creation really looks like with adults and other partners?
Yeah, I would say, like from working, on a whole lot, I would say like just a safe space for people to be themselves and like share ideas, so they feel comfortable and they're able to do, their best work. And, it's really also just about, building community, like as far as the youth, and, and also I would say like being able to like enlighten and share knowledge and share, like, it's kind of the same thing, but I don't know. I feel like just learning, new things so we're able to like as far as the topics, so we're able to, make the best art that we can. Like kind of being transparent with the things that we know. Um, and like for adults, I would say just like continue like building and sharing opportunities where kids are able to learn these like important things. Because, like school may not be the most, conducive way for a kid to learn. So like maybe like these institutions outside of school where, it's interactive, things like music, things like other arts like that, like they may receive that knowledge like, better, where they're with their friends, things like that. So yeah, I would, that's what I would say.
That's so good, Jaden. So, so good. Rankin, go ahead on in. round us out with this last question. What are your thoughts around co-creation?
Yeah, I just want to echo that Chantala and Jaden were sharing some really important messages. And I think the best way of kind of summarizing that is like the most important thing when you think about youth co-creation is the idea of building trust. Wherever you're working with any sort of youth population, you need to build trust. And it's from the trust that you're able to kind of enact really exciting changes and solutions. When we go into classrooms, for example, to deliver public health lessons, one thing that I train volunteers and ambassadors from Hip Hop Public Health in the most is going in with the idea of being as friendly and willing to build trust with the students that you're going in to listen to and teach them. And what that means is instead of coming into a lesson with the idea that I'm going to be talking at you, instead it's going to be we're going to be singing, we're going to be dancing, we're going to be kind of communicating alongside you instead of at you. And that goes a really long way in terms of getting buy-in from the students that we educate with these resources. And I think that's really important, not only in terms of getting students to open up, but then also having students share their opinions on what we are doing as educators. I think one thing that really stood out to me when we first started piloting lessons that used the musical resources was how students were really open to giving their feedback on things they wanted to change. And we would take that feedback, we would listen to them, we would make the changes, and then when we come back the next week and make the changes, the students would be like, "Oh, that's literally what I said. Like that, we're doing that now." And having them get so excited about that is truly the shows the importance of listening to youth, right? Because when they see that adults and younger adults and older people are listening to what they have to say and actually making change based off what they're saying, it goes a really long way. And I just wanted to echo that as well.
So good. And I think it ties back also to what Dr. Bailey talked about in the fireside chat around active listening, right? Like really leaning in and listening to what, the youth in the global village, are looking for. And so good. I just scanned the chat and the only question I saw was for you, Jaden. Any new projects coming up? With Kingsmakers, personal projects,
Um,
anything you want to share?
well, yeah, I did just drop a EP or like a small album through Kingmakers. I don't know if we could like maybe put my links or something in chat, but yeah, yeah, it's called like New Beginnings, and yeah, it's really just about my upbringing and my love for music. So yeah, I just turned 17, so it's out on all platforms, Spotify. Yeah.
Yeah, you can drop your links in the chat and bring them. They're anxious to know about any projects that you're working on, anything exciting coming up with hip hop public health.
Sorry about that. I wasn't able to unmute myself. Yeah, so with Hip Hop Public Health, a lot of the work that I do is centered around kind of taking projects like Jaden's and turning it into lessons for teachers and students to use. So I will, once we finish talking today, drop a link in the chat to some of the lesson plans that we have been working on for the last couple of years. We also are hosting educator series that allow people, so we have these really exciting lesson resources, but then the question is how do I actually use them, right? So we are hosting some sessions right now where educators or anyone interested in using the resources, this can be parents, this can be family members, this can really be anyone, can hop onto a call and learn about how to use our resources to educate their children, their students, and really make the most of the resources. So that's some of the things that are coming out on our side of things.
And as far as NEEF, this is actually our second music video project that we partnered with Hip Hop Public Health on. Our first project is called Empower around asthma management for teens. And so you can check that out on Neef's YouTube channel and also on Hip Hop Public Health YouTube channel and website as well. And also want to put a plug. I saw we have several educators on here. This music video was really a follow-up to an amazing educators toolkit that Neef put together to help educators really support their students around climate emotions. And so we can also put that link in the chat for all the educators on activities and, various projects that we have included in our climate educators toolkit. As well. I don't see any other questions. And so we're just going to wrap up our conversation together and just really want to thank all of our panelists. Let's give them an amazing shout out for the great conversation. Also want to thank Kunli and the entire team of this Young Leaders in Arts and Health Global Summit for being part of this movement. And so as we end, I just really want to encourage everybody, to take some action, right? And just continue to be intentional about creating spaces to spark some powerful conversations with young people so that they can create action and change in their community. So with that, I'll turn it back over to our host. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. The conversation between the panelists and the moderator was very enlightening. Next up, we have a spoken word performance by Paulina Blackrose Mothibe.
What if healing is not found in medication, unless prescriptions or therapy? What if true healing is found in a theater play on stage, where pain is transformed into beauty and bodies release what words cannot express? What if being whole is found in the beat of an African drum, in the rhythm of our feet that speaks when lips go numb? Art is a healer. What if healing is found in movements that says I've constantly conquered calamity, even when words disappear? Maybe healing is not meant to be stored, but drummed, danced, and displayed in a painting we often overlook. Art is a healer. Yet I perceive what lies beyond their sight. They've labeled our craft as entertainment, diluting something so sacred. Isn't it funny that in their diagnosis they forget to tell us that dance is a language that casts out illness and storytelling is a point of contact to pass down generational wisdom. And music heals mental illness and grief. They hide what is known to the heart, that we no longer need to depend on pills for survival. That art is a healer. It quenches the ache of unspoken thirst. Through art, we are the architect of healing, building bridges between generations, sculpting peace. The next generation is painting their own hymn. The next generation is working with their paint-stained palms, dripping with answers no notebook could hold. Where we see a wound, they see a canvas. They don't just feel, but they translate. Their art is fire that does not burn, but refines. Art is a healer. The next generation is not waiting for a cure to arrive. They are the remedy. Do not call them lost. They don't need to be saved. The next generation, it is how it all begins and how it all starts again. Because art is a healer.
And now I will turn it over to my co-host, Priya.
Thank you. That was, again, a very beautiful performance. And a huge thank you to everyone for participating in this event. It's been a insightful and inspiring journey. Going back to the theme, I hope each of us have harnessed some creative potentials in our own practice and lives to help build a healthier world from this event and going forward. Ooh, is there something coming up that we've missed? Oh no, just a slide. And before we go, I've got a few announcements. So we do have details
Arts
of
are absolutely fundamental to young people. They support mental health, well-being, life satisfaction, and give meaning and purpose to lives. They provide opportunities for social connection, reducing loneliness, and fostering strong social bonds, which are so critical in this age of increasing social disconnection. They also help to improve the way that we talk and collaborate with one another. The arts help to negotiate peace or reduce conflict. They play fundamental roles in helping to discuss and communicate health communication messages. They help us all to understand one another better. And I couldn't be more delighted that you young leaders are taking this work forwards. You are the voice of the next generation. Hopefully a voice that will recognise and value and champion the arts much more than they are being appreciated and valued at the moment.
We use art to connect, to heal, to transform. And that is why in the hands of young people, art is a force of power. We use it to reimagine the world around us and also to recreate it. It is also important for young people and young professionals to be leaders in art and health, because we use art as a force for justice and for health and healing.
Young leaders, you are shaping the future right now. You bring the creativity, the courage, and the vision that we need to build healthier, more just societies. And when you lead with the arts, you inspire the world to see culture as a vital force for health and well-being.
Many young people instinctively recognize the power of art to bring joy and happiness, but also as a means of expressing emotions, whether it's sadness or happiness. And also, I think they recognize the extraordinary impact that art can have for its therapeutic value and to aid recovery from periods of mental distress or ill health.
I see the arts as a space and a place for young people to grow and flourish and not hide any parts of their heart, mind, and bodily health.
So art has given me a sense of self-worth and a sense of self-belonging. And I strongly believe this relates to young people too, where art can give them a sense of creativity, a sense of self-determination, and a sense of purpose too.
Young people should be enabled to take a leadership role in the change that matters to them.
ZWAP.com.
You bring hope and inspiration, but sometimes that can feel a bit cliched. It's all that, but it's also you bring expertise, energy, passion, and purpose.
Your creativity and dialogue, you are lighting new paths forward for dignity, well-being, and inclusion. And that's what's most inspiring. You are not just imagining change, you are inviting others into it. You're singing it, drawing it, performing it.
In this fast-moving digital age, art is one way in which you sort of keep up and create and innovate as well.
Art matters because they can transform realities, imagine better futures.
For young people, and I mean you are already leading this effort. You're bold, you're creative, and you're unafraid to challenge the status quo.
If you wanna come with me. The door is open every day. This 1+2 rendezvous.
And I know you've got the potential to go and change the world. I know you will.
It's wonderful to see the initiative taken by the Young Leaders for Arts and Health team for increasing the discussion around the arts and mental health nexus.
Young Leaders for Arts and Health. Let's go now. Let's go now. Let's go now.
Right now, we need who you are in the world, because when you're older, it's it's easy to lose sight of the change that we can make together, and the arts bring us together. And if we have leaders who recognize that the arts are a vital necessity for not only our togetherness, but our health and our humanity, anything is possible. And you're gonna make it possible.
We are the dreamers, we make it happen, 'cause we believe it. Look who we are. We are the dreamers, we make it happen, 'cause we can see.
Hi everyone. Sorry, I got a bit ahead of myself there, but that was a perfect way to introduce the upcoming programs through Youth Leaders for Arts and Health that will be launching very soon. There should be a QR code that you can scan coming up shortly, but I'll give you a brief overview. So there are three programs, Rising Stars. So this is going to be directed towards people between the ages of 15 and 19. And they will be titled The Arts and Health Shining Stars. Community Champions, which is for people between the ages of 20 and 25, who will be Arts and Health Ambassadors. And exceptional talent leaders for people between the ages of 26 and 35, who will also be referred to as Arts and Health Changemakers. Excitingly, we also have a podcast launching with a premiere at 6 p.m. today. That's London time today. The first podcast will feature Ariel Reich, actor, director, and arts and medicine practitioner and artist in residence at NYC hospitals. And it will be hosted by our very own Shivi Kumar, who has introduced herself. And yeah, you've met her throughout this event. We will also be launching the beautiful song by Adebisi Jafojo, The Healing Power of Music in Youth Mental Health, called I'm a Superstar, which will premiere at 5 p.m. London time again on YouTube. I believe you should be able to see a QR code, or I'm sure one of the team will send a link so you can keep up with any updates. We would also love to take a photo of everyone at the event. So if you feel comfortable with this, please turn on your camera in a second.